What's up, Swing Trader Snacks here. We're going to go through and do our watch list for September 19th, 2025. Let's jump in here and look at the SPY. We're just still so strong. All right, we did hold that prior all-time high level here on RSP, which I think is a little more important to watch right now, is the equally weighted. Make sure we have full participation because we just continue to rally, and I am expecting a pullback, and I don't want my neck out when that happens. So look, I'm still flat. All right, I've not taken anything new this week, knowing that we were rolling into FOMC, and the initial reaction to it has been quite positive, which is sort of what we expected. I did also have a scenario of a sell the news event, which we've not had just yet. Still could happen here, but look, guys, we're strong. All right, big tech is strong as well. We might want to keep our eye out here for a possible evening star pattern forming here, maybe a short-term topping pattern. Again, I just expect a pullback, guys. It would be healthy. We've been on an absolute ripper for 6 months, not even been able to test the 50, guys. So a bit of a retracement or correction would be healthy here, in my opinion. And when we do get it and we show strength, see the level that they step in and defend and push us back over the short-term moving average, our entire watch list is going to be popping off with triple R. So that is what I'm waiting for to go into a risk profile A, where I will then go up to 50 to 60% exposure of the portfolio. I never go over 60%. That's just period. I do not do that. That is how I have built my risk portfolio. And then I align it with the current market risk profile, which I would say it's got to be a C for me still, just because I'm expecting a pullback, right? So why would I want to over position? In a risk profile C, I sit on my hands. I manage positions. I sit on my hands, right? Market risk profile B, I'll add a position or two. Remember, I do have leaps, long-term positions that are doing quite well, right? And that accounts, at one point it was 20% of my portfolio, but we're up over 190% on the year. That's, shoot, now they're down there around 10, maybe even a little bit less than 10% of the total portfolio. So I do have some room to add, and I might do maybe a half size today. As I was looking yesterday as well, it's just the two that I liked most did not trigger. But there's just a lot out there that is very attractive. So look, let's go through the list and I'll show you what I may add. And once we do get that deeper retracement in the market and get essentially a triple R trigger on the market, then I will consider us in a market risk profile A, and I'll go up to 50-60% exposure, adding multiple full-size positions. But maybe just a half sizer today. Here's what I'm looking at. AMD gapped down on news of Intel and NVIDIA, some sort of partnership there where, it caused an overreaction, gap down and an overreaction on AMD here yesterday, and it got bought up. Okay, so this is a very, very bullish signal. And if we can get over the 50 on this thing, I'm a buyer. It's just going to happen, okay? And then Nail is something I am watching, this is the 3X ETF for home builders, likely to be a big beneficiary of a rate cut cycle, right? Home builders, okay, they're going to benefit from a rate cut environment, which we look to be entering here for likely multiple months. So eyes are on Nail. If we get back over the 9, another one I'm likely to take. Coin is one that I love. We got a IPO cycle here, which is something that I talk about quite often. We're covering that next week in boot camp, guys. So be excited there. We're going to do box breakouts and IPO cycles, which we make money on those guys, right, when they do set up. But look, we're looking at an IPO cycle here and getting back over the 50, just very strong look and an opportunity to anticipate the IPO cycle breakout, right? Maybe get a quarter or half size, and then we want to see a breakout of the IPO cycle, pull back, retest, hold, show strength at that level, and then I would look for the price range to repeat, okay, in approximately the same amount of time to the upside. And guys, go look at the leaders and how often that happens when they do put in an IPO cycle, okay? Hey traders, if you're struggling to find consistent profitability, then you need a coach or a mentor. The markets are just far too brutal of a teacher. I'm up over 170% on the year and on track to do well over 200, so triple the portfolio this year, 2025. So if you want to stop spinning tires and you're looking for someone to lean over your shoulder and teach you a model that works, but more importantly than making money, I'm going to teach you how to keep it and compound it through proper risk management. I'd love to have you join me. I'm going to give you an edge you can leverage for the rest of your life. See you there. CELH is the one I was looking for an entry here on this yesterday, just didn't get it, so still on the radar. And guys, we're looking for a strong company in a trend backed by growing fundamentals, which Celsius does check those boxes, okay? Coming out of the change of structure here, right? We are in a trend, we've got growing fundamentals, and we are respecting structure, so we look for a retracement reaction at or around our level and a remount of the short term. So we are looking to get over about 57.27 there would be a trigger for me. Back over the 9 on Celsius is very attractive for me. I'm looking for it. Uber is another one that had a little bit of somewhat similar to AMD. They had a negative reaction to, it was, I think, Lyft and Waymo announced autonomous cabs in Tennessee, in Knoxville or something like that. And we had a negative reaction, but what this is to me is another one of my models is a shake and go. So we broke to all-time highs, shook everyone out, held structure or level, right? Held our 50 and back over the 9. This is a shake and go trigger that I think is worth a swing in my opinion, okay? Dave is another one that can be quite squeezy, and we are looking to break range right here. And if it does so, I think it's worth, you know, a swing, guys, right? So we had a bit of a break of structure, right? Break of structure, pullback, retest our averages, and we're pushing up again. I think that a break of this range, it's worth a swing with a stop just below the range. That's a slam dunk, and I think you could easily target 2-to-1 on this. I say go for recent highs, guys, and get a 3-to-1 out of this, in my opinion, because we know how squeezy Dave can get. Okay, DDOG is another one, almost the same setup here, right? We're breaking structure, okay, and pulling back and retesting it. So we're breaking this structure here. All right, a bit of a shake and go. Guys, back over the 50, DDOG is attractive here. Same deal. You know, I think target recent highs. 2-to-1, not a 3-to-1 on this guy. You could tighten this up, so 2.5-to-1. Yeah, DDOG looks good to go. Another one that can move when it gets legs. FUTU is an interesting one for me today because there is a 9 a.m. call between President Trump and President Xi of China. And we know how pumpy Trump likes to get after these conversations. So look, guys, this is a leader. I really like the financials ETF, or sorry, I really like the financial sector. It continues to lead. If we look at the ETF here, we are breaking all-time highs here again in the financials ETF. So a good sector, good looking stock, and we might get some good news, right? So stacking a few things there, and we've got a perfect triple R setup, right? Strong company in a trend backed by growing fundamentals. We get a retracement reaction at around our level over the 9, guys. If we get a pump out of Trump, wow, just hitting the rhymes today. If we get a pump out of Trump, guys, over the 9, FUTU's got to be looked at. DraftKings is a box breakout that I am looking at here. You know, back over the 50, I think it's worth a look. So box breakout, we want sideways consolidation coming out of a trend for at least 6 months. All right, so we can anticipate maybe get quarter or half size here back over the 50, let it break out of the box, come back, retest it, and go. And if you want to know how strong these are, here is the one that I just played last week, RMBS. And damn, did I leave some money on the table on this one, but that's all right. I hit my targets. I pay the trader. We were also going into a very large eco decision, right? So look, I ain't mad at it. Okay, yeah, I could have gotten twice the gains, but look, I pay the trader, guys. I set my levels. When they hit my levels, I take the money. Okay, the triple R is hitting so well, right, that I gotta say, at the end of the year, I'm gonna have to evaluate this for a 3R model. It is currently a 2R model for me. I'm seeing it hit 3R more often than not, so I'm going to need to pull all of my trades and all of my data for the year at the end of the year, as I always do, and do some evaluating and see if we need to set this at a 3R model. Look, we're up over 190% on the year. I'm not looking to change too much, but if we're leaving too much money on the table, we're going to evaluate that, and if we need to make a change, we will. Pay is another one that we want to look at for an IPO cycle. Guys, this is a big, beautiful IPO cycle, putting in a cup and handle just below highs. Guys, if we can get into this thing, look at this accumulation on the chart. I mean, if we can get into this thing, if we get a chance to get into this thing, we got to swing the bat. But what I'm looking for, we got a reaction off our level. So, you know, I just want to see a bit of strength here again. Again, I would anticipate with quarter to half size. Maybe through yesterday's high would get me in quarter to half size. And then I would load up the rest on a break and retest of the IPO highs here, which we've been struggling to get through. So if we can break through it, pull back and retest it, hold it, show strength, then I would load up to full size on this position. And likely I'd look to get maybe a year or two leaps on this guy to realize a full size move out of it. All right, and then we've got PRM is a good look here on a recent leader for triple R setup, right? Strong company in a trend backed by growing fundamentals. Retracement reaction at around our level. Remount of the 9 on PRM is attractive. Amazon, another one I really do want to get into. Okay, looking for a break of highs, and we are holding structure here, respecting structure. I think, you know, kind of through yesterday, the day before high, yeah, it's somewhere through this range. I'm looking to get into this guy, so I just need to see some sustained intraday strength. Okay. And I've got these big arrows in here because this was last year's rate cut cycle. The last time the Fed cut rates was last September 17th. And we also came just off of a gap down reversal play, another one of my models. Guys, hit up the boot camp if you want to learn my models. I've got 6 of them and they are printing, okay? But it is more so because of my ability to manage risk and execute mechanically. But anyways, we get a gap down reversal play here, right? And then we got back over our moving averages. So I waited for the next retracement reaction at around our level and remount, which, I mean, it's literally a mirror of last year. Guys, go look at the chart if you want to see that. We got a gap down reversal, invalidated that gap down, and then we're pulling back into our moving averages, remounting the short term. On a Fed rate cut cycle, it's the exact same play. I'm looking to take it again, and I believe I got, 3-1 last year out of that. And Microsoft, pretty much same look here. We want to take this over the 50, which it is currently testing. So over the 50 is a slam dunk entry, in my opinion, in my eyes on Microsoft. And eBay is another one that I just don't know why it's not been on my radar, but it is now. And we got a gap up on earnings above all-time highs. We're getting a retracement reaction at around our level. I think 9, it's worth a swing. Super tight risk reward, guys. I mean, come on, got to swing the bat when you get a setup like that. So guys, I'm going to remain pretty tight on my risk, just because I do expect a pullback in the market, and we've got a possible evening star here playing out in the market. So look, if we get a sell program here on Friday, we'll look to see where we find support, where they step in, what level they defend, and get us back onto trend, and then we're going to make some money to close out the year 2025. Definitely looking to get well over 200% on the year.